It's almost hard to believe now, seeing her iconic structures around the globe. But yeah, there was definitely a time when people really struggled to imagine a Zaha Hadid design actually getting built.
Hmm.
I mean, she ultimately redefined what everyone thought was possible in architecture, a true visionary. But those early years involved a lot of pushing against the current.
Yeah, and what's truly compelling, I think, is how that initial skepticism, that resistance, almost seemed to act as a catalyst for her extraordinary career.
Right.
So for this deep dive, we're not just looking at the stunning finished buildings everyone knows.
Right.
We're going right back to the fundamental influences and those really critical junctures that shaped Dame Zaha Hadid's groundbreaking approach.
Exactly. And we've gathered a really fascinating array of material for you listening. We've got a really thought-provoking Oxford Union Q&A,
That was great.
some comprehensive documentaries by Blessed Arch and R10 Film 21, plus lectures from Columbia GSAPP and Tate Talks.
Yeah, quite a mix.
An insightful breakdown of her architectural sort of vocabulary from Curious Muse, and a detailed analysis of her formative thesis project, again, courtesy of Blessed Arch.
So think of this as your kind of streamlined guide to understanding the forces that really forged Zaha's unique architectural voice.
Yeah, our mission here is basically to distill the essential insights, right? The core motivations behind her designs, which often seem to just defy gravity.
Definitely. And we aim to uncover some, maybe surprising details, illuminate her distinctive creative process,
Hmm.
and explore the challenges she encountered and, crucially, how she navigated them.
Okay, so let's unpack this. With someone as complex and influential as Zaha Hadid, where do we even begin?
Well, it really seems her early life in Baghdad was significant.
Right.
Growing up in a supportive environment meant she had access to a really strong education.
And interestingly, she actually earned a bachelor's degree in mathematics first.
Yeah, which is a crucial foundation, isn't it?
It really is.
That mathematical grounding is, well, it's a really intriguing starting point. If you connect this to the bigger picture, you can start to see how that deep understanding of spatial relationships, geometric principles, might have informed her unique way of sort of deconstructing and reimagining architectural forms.
It wasn't just about calculations then.
No, it seems more like a fundamental lens through which she viewed and manipulated space. Then, her move to London and the Architectural Association, the AA, in '72, that appears to be a truly pivotal moment.
Absolutely. The AA in London has this incredible reputation, doesn't it? A real hotbed of architectural innovation.
Oh, definitely.
And it was there that she connected with some seriously influential figures, Rem Koolhaas, Elias Gellis, Bernard Tschumi.
Right, architects who were themselves challenging conventional thinking.
Exactly. And Zingillis's description of her as the inventor of the 89 degrees, that really captures something essential about her early vision, don't you think?
It really does. The idea that nothing she conceived was ever truly at a strict right angle, that her ideas were inherently dynamic, leaning towards fragmented forms right from the start.
Yeah.
It speaks volumes about her natural inclination to just question the established norms.
It's almost a form of, like, built-in rebellion, which
Yeah.
is fascinating. Listening to her Columbia GSAPP lecture, she shared this wonderful little anecdote
Oh, yeah.
about her time at the AA, where one of her teachers apparently accused her of being an actress between rehearsals because of her very individual style.
No way.
Yeah. I can just picture it showing up in what she called funny furs,
Yeah.
in an environment where, maybe a certain austerity was expected.
Well, that raises an important question about the intellectual climate that nurtured her, right?
Mm.
The AA at that time, under Alvin Boyarsky, as the R10 Film 21 documentary highlights, was really focused on exploring differences,
Right.
even pushing back against traditional notions of design in favor of radical experimentation, questioning established architectural tenets.
So it sounds like an incredibly fertile environment for someone with her singular vision.
Exactly. Not just to survive, but to truly flourish.
And flourish it did, particularly when she encountered the Russian avant-garde,
Yeah.
specifically Kazimir Malevich and Vladimir Tatlin.
Ah, yes, this seems to have been a real turning point for her, a genuine aha moment.
Definitely looks that way.
What's particularly insightful here is the connection she made with suprematism.
Explain that a bit more.
Well, at its core, suprematism was an artistic movement that, moved away from depicting recognizable objects
Okay.
and instead focused on pure geometric abstraction. Think fundamental shapes like squares, circles,
Right,
lines.
pure form.
Exactly. And for Hadid, as the Blessed Arch analysis of her thesis points out, this offered a completely new way to think about space and form in its most basic, sort of unconstrained state.
It's remarkable to consider that she adopted painting as a fundamental design tool, directly inspired by Malevich.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, she felt that traditional architectural drawing was just too restrictive.
Yeah, she saw painting as a way to explore spatial concepts in a much more abstract and, well, liberated manner.
That interplay between 2D and 3D seems crucial then.
It really was. The Curious Muse video even draws a connection between Malevich's iconic black square and Hadid's design thinking.
Now so.
This idea of starting with fundamental forms, radical simplicity, as a basis for generating incredibly complex spatial ideas.
And her thesis project, Malevich Tectonic, this reimagining of Malevich's Architect in Alpha as a hotel on the River Thames.
Yeah. It's as if she was literally taking these abstract suprematist forms and anchoring them, conceptually at least, in a tangible, real-world context.
So she was grounding the abstract.
In a way, yes. The Blessed Arch analysis really emphasizes the idea of layering in her work, a concept directly influenced by suprematism's emphasis on overlapping, intersecting geometric planes.
And the mention in the Tate Talks just reinforces that.
Exactly. It underscores just how profound that initial engagement with the Russian avant-garde was in shaping her foundational principles.
But the path wasn't exactly smooth sailing, was it?
Not at all. She won the Hong Kong Peak competition in 1983 with this incredibly radical design.
Right, fragmented, almost crystalline. It appeared to defy gravity. I mean, the descriptions, exploding crystalline structure erupting from the hill, it sounded absolutely revolutionary.
And it truly was groundbreaking. The Peak design, although, ultimately never built.
Right, that's the key part.
It was immensely important in gaining her international recognition, particularly within architectural and academic circles. It served as a powerful manifesto of her unique vision, even unrealized.
But then followed this decade where many of her projects just remained unbuilt. She was even labeled a paper architect, which must have been incredibly frustrating.
Oh, absolutely. 10 years of winning competitions, garnering acclaim, but not seeing those visions translated into physical buildings.
That label, paper architect, while maybe dismissive at the time, now it almost carries a certain gravitas, doesn't it?
It kind of does. It signifies a visionary who was perhaps just ahead of her time. It speaks to her unwavering dedication to ideas that challenged existing construction techniques and conventional thinking.
And her inclusion in the Deconstructivism in Architecture exhibition in '88, alongside others pushing radical ideas, that solidified her position, right?
It did, even if built commissions remained scarce for a while longer.
But the pivotal moment finally arrived with the Vitra Fire Station in 1993.
Ah, yes, the turning point.
Talk about an unexpected origin story. A fire at the Vitra production facilities led to the commission for a new fire station.
And Zaha got the call. Simple as that, almost.
And what's so fascinating is her approach to this seemingly functional building.
Right. She didn't just design a practical structure. She aimed to capture the very essence of a fire station, the constant state of alert, the readiness to move.
Her design, often described as movement frozen, it really embodied that sense of tension and dynamism.
It absolutely did. But it wasn't universally embraced immediately.
No. The Blessed Arch documentary recounts initial criticisms from the firefighters themselves.
Imagine that the very people who would be using the building finding its design challenging for their needs.
Yeah, must have been awkward.
It really highlights the inherent risk that comes with radical innovation, though.
True.
But ultimately, the Vitra Fire Station proved to be the project that, as the Blessed Arch documentary aptly states, opened the floodgates for her career.
It was concrete proof, quite literally, that her extraordinary visions could indeed be realized.
Exactly.
From that point, she really began to solidify the signature style that we all recognize today, didn't she?
Mm-hmm. The continued exploration of fragmentation, dynamism, movement was certainly there.
Right.
But we also saw this evolving shift towards more curvaceous, fluid, almost sculptural forms later on.
Yet even with that stylistic evolution, the underlying principles seem to remain consistent.
That's right. The Curious Muse video astutely points out that those core ideas first expressed in Vitra, the layering, the dynamic movement, the multiple perspectives, continued to inform her work throughout her career.
And she was an early and enthusiastic adopter of digital tools, wasn't she? 3D modeling, parametricism.
Oh, definitely. It's almost as if the technology finally caught up with her incredible imagination.
Yeah. Allowing her to push those boundaries of form and space even further.
Absolutely. The Blessed Arch documentary notes that even in the early days of Zaha Hadid Architects, her team would approach sketching and painting in a way that mirrored her own abstract, dynamic sensibilities.
So it was a deeply ingrained design philosophy within the whole practice.
It seems so, yeah.
And her own description of her style is so revealing. The idea is to not have any 90-degree angles.
Right. Emphasizing the importance of the diagonal and the explosion which reforms the space.
It's a fundamental rethinking of how we inhabit and move through architectural space.
That concept of fluid space and achieving a seamless condition, as she put it in her Columbia GSAP lecture, truly encapsulates that desire to break down traditional spatial boundaries.
And it's fascinating to learn, as both Curious Muse and Artan Film 21 highlight, about the influence of Islamic calligraphy from her childhood.
Yeah, contributing to those ideas of weightlessness and fluidity in her forms. Quite poetic, really.
It is. Of course, with such a powerful and unconventional vision, there were inevitably challenges along the way.
Always are with pioneers.
Her perspective on compromise, as she shared in the Oxford Union Q&A, was really insightful, I thought.
How so?
It wasn't about diluting the central idea, but about being strategically smart, as she put it, in adapting the work to the practicalities of client needs and constraints.
That makes sense. And the example of the Vicha fire station again,
Right.
where budget limitations actually led to a purely structural, functional design devoid of extraneous decoration.
It really illustrates that principle in action. Sometimes those constraints can paradoxically serve to amplify the clarity and power of the core concept.
That's a great way to put it.
But then there were the more public setbacks, like the very controversial cancellation of the Japan 2020 Olympic Stadium bid.
Ah, yes. That was messy. Her perspective on that, again from the Oxford Union, was quite direct.
She suggested potential nationalistic reasons, didn't she, despite her long and positive history with Japan?
She did. And the subsequent allegation that her design was then used as a basis for the winning bid, albeit with a different facade, as she put it,
Yeah.
that raises significant ethical questions within the architectural profession regarding intellectual property and design authorship.
Definitely. It's a stark reminder of the complex political and economic landscapes surrounding these huge architectural projects.
Sure. And who could forget the Cardiff Opera House saga? Winning the competition.
Only for it to be canceled.
Exactly. The Artan Film 21 documentary portrays this as a deeply disappointing episode, hinting at prejudice and calling it a drastically bad decision, suggesting maybe the city just wasn't quite ready for such an avant-garde design, especially from, a woman architect with her background at that time.
The impact of those unbuilt projects and the period where she felt somewhat stigmatized, as mentioned in that doc.
It must have been incredibly difficult.
But her continued dedication to her work and the fact that she clearly found joy in the creative process despite these setbacks.
It speaks volumes about her remarkable resilience and inner drive, doesn't it?
It really does.
Oh,
But throughout it all, she maintained this incredible drive to innovate, particularly in tectonics and materials.
yeah, her Columbia GSAP lecture touched on this increasing focus on the relationship between structure and material.
Fueled by advancements in technology and ongoing research.
Right. She had this clear ambition to push further the boundaries and even to realize what she termed utopian projects.
And the Oxford Union Q&A gives some pretty compelling examples of this material innovation.
Like the self-compacting concrete in Baku.
Exactly. And the vacuum-formed glass in Innsbruck, steel space frames clad in fiberglass concrete.
Huh.
She was constantly investigating the possibilities that new materials and tech offered.
And she even looked to seemingly unrelated industries, didn't she? Like cars and aircraft manufacturing.
Yeah, for inspiration in creating customized architectural elements. Her approach to sustainability was also quite forward-thinking,
How so?
challenging the conventional idea that sustainability solely meant using traditional materials, and instead focusing on the intelligent application of things like thermal devices.
Interesting perspective. And it's crucial to remember that her extraordinary achievements weren't solely the result of her individual genius.
No, absolutely not. She consistently emphasized the vital contributions of her team.
Including her long-term collaborator, Patrick Schumacher.
Right, and she served as a significant teacher and mentor to many aspiring architects, too.
Mm-hmm. Rem Koolhaas's description of her possessing inevitable courage really resonates.
It does. And his early recognition of her as a planet in her own orbit is incredibly insightful.
Yeah, perfectly put. Her passing in 2016 was, of course, a profound loss for the architectural world.
Huge loss.
But the fact that her firm continues to thrive and build upon her legacy is a powerful testament to the strong foundation she established.
Definitely. Her lasting impact on architectural thought and practice is just undeniable, inspiring countless students, breaking down barriers for women in a historically male-dominated field.
It's as if her buildings offer experiences that transcend the familiar, creating spaces that foster social interaction and a sense of what she called information richness.
Yeah, that's a great phrase from the Art and Film 21 doc.
So, as we conclude this deep dive, we can clearly identify the core threads running through Zaha Hadid's remarkable journey.
Yeah, what are they?
A radical initial vision, deeply influenced by suprematism,
Hmm.
a relentless pursuit of innovation, even facing significant obstacles,
Definitely relentless.
a pioneering embrace of technology and materials, and a profound, enduring impact on how we conceive of and experience architecture.
She truly transformed abstract ideas into tangible, extraordinary spaces, no doubt about it.
Exactly.
And that leaves you, our listener, to consider this.
Yeah.
Given Zaha Hadid's constant drive to explore the new and the unconventional, how might her design philosophy continue to shape the future of our urban environments and our experience of space, even beyond the specific materials and forms she pioneered?
That's a good question.
What might breaking the 90-degree angle signify in broader societal and technological contexts in the years to come? Something to think about.
Definitely food for thought. And we highly encourage you to explore images and videos of her key projects, the Vitra Fire Station, the conceptual renderings of the Peak,
Oh yeah, see those renderings.
the MXY Museum in Rome, the Haydar Aliyev Center in Baku, the London Aquatic Center, to truly appreciate the tangible outcomes of the insights we've discussed.
Absolutely. And if you're interested in digging even deeper into those foundational influences,
We recommend taking some time to research suprematism and the broader Russian avant-garde movement. It's all part of the continuing, fascinating evolution of architectural thought and innovation.